Hi, welcome to another episode of Easy English. I'm Rebecca, and today I'm taking you to the Indigenous Artisan Marketplace here in Toronto. You'll be able to see many different vendors from different Indigenous communities in Canada. Ready? Let's go. Could you tell us a bit about what products you have here today or your involvement in the marketplace?
We are representatives of the Toronto and York Region Métis Council. So we bring Métis themed goods, which are a little bit different. We were the voyageurs in the opening up of Canada, and so we have our sashes, our traditional sashes, and our hats, and our wooden spoons that accompany our fiddling, and some beading information, and just Métis themed goods in general that a little bit different than our First Nations cousins. Well, there's three Indigenous groups in Canada. We have the First Nations, we have the Inuit, and we have the Metis. The Metis are traditionally called the mixed blood people. In history, the explorers and the settlers who first came over from Europe uh, had relationships and marriages with the native women that they found here, and it's that when they lived together in a community that formed a Métis or a mixed blood nation.
We're from Wissahickon First Nation, and this is my mother, Margaret Miner, and my name is Deborah. And we are here at the annual Native Canadian Centre of Toronto Indigenous Artisan Marketplace. It's an annual event that's held where local artisans from across actually the province are here showcasing their artwork, and our communities from Toronto and surrounding areas.
The reservation I'm from is called Georgina Island First Nations. That's up at Lake Simcoe, Ontario, which is about an hour and a half north of here. But yeah, I grew up in Toronto all my life. This to me was like my journey sort of thing. Because I don't know too much about my culture, I've used my art to go around to markets like this or powwows and stuff so that I can learn more about my culture, learn and understand about what's going on in these things. And to me, I feel like it's kind of helped me out, So I'm getting a little spiritual healing as a sense by doing this and sharing it with everybody else. And I love seeing people's faces like smile and stuff like that as everybody gets to enjoy my artwork.
Hello there. I'm a beekeeper, and so I keep bees in Toronto and in the country areas. My wife's a First Nation. She's Anishinaabe, and so we've been connected to the Native Centre for many, many years. And we usually join in on this celebration here for the Christmas market.
We work with a lot of people from Peru, from the mountainside. A lot of the stuff also are made by the people from the mountains in Peru, and they're also like indigenous. All the background, it's Inca, that's the Inca people, and all the fabrics that they use, they come from the alpaca and the llama.
Do you speak any Indigenous language?
Well, my dad speaks the language. It's called Quechua. That's from the mountainside. But actually, there are many languages in Peru. It's not like that's people from the mountains that speak Quechua. We have the jungle side that we share with Brazil, the Amazons. So they speak a language that is called Aymara. And in the coast, we speak all the Spanish. I mean, everybody knows Spanish, but it's just they have their own languages too.
Do you see any similarities or differences between Indigenous communities in Toronto and in Peru?
Well, they have their own kind of culture, but at the end, I felt like they were very like artisan people. They use everything that comes from from the animals. They use everything kind of. So they are very artistic people.
I make everything myself. This artwork is made out of fabrics for a friend of mine, but I'm primarily a jewelry designer. I make necklaces, bolo ties, like this one here. I'm a clothing designer as well, a photographer and a jeweler. I love doing this work. It's kind of like people say it's therapy for me, I guess. I guess it is. I only work on it when I'm in a good state of mind. Yeah, so I think my energy, my positive energy goes onto the jewelry and goes onto people. I grew up in the Niagara area. Originally, my reserve is Six Nations of the Grand River. I studied school, art school up in Sudbury. I lived in Manitoulin for like 25 years. I just recently moved back to Toronto. It's totally different from where I grew up. And well, my culture is Six Nations, which is the Longhouse people. They they do their ceremonies throughout the moon ceremonies throughout the year and different times of the year. When I lived in Manitoulin, it's a totally different way up there too. The clan system is different too. Down here where I'm from, it's the mother that we follow the mother's line. The mother's female are the leaders, clan leaders.
My mother is known for her pine needle baskets, which we have on display here, as well as our dream catchers and shakers and sweetgrass circles, signifying straight. And the wonderful thing is the comfy babies as well. And the comfy babies are great for anyone going through trauma, agitation, but also for our older adults as they age in the communities as well with dementia and Alzheimer's as well. As you notice, we've got some name tags here in our Ojibwe language, and then I've also put the language in English as well.
We say for hello is Anin Bojo. My initials are MM, so I'm the mountain, and that's the sun, and it rises around my 5 children.
So the designs that I got here are all designed on Adobe Illustrator. The word here is a Mohawk word, and it means where the water comes out of the trees. It's the word that they used to use for when they were first in the area. So this is what we would use to describe Toronto. This one's like a little native emoji guy, and it says cha on here. So if you ever go around to a powwow and stuff and you hear some people laughing or something or telling a joke, you might hear somebody go cha. So it's kind of like a laugh, you know? That's why he's like crying, laughing sort of thing, you know?
I have here, we've put together a smudge kit, and the smudge kit, in our little package here, we have our 4 traditional medicines that we use. We have sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and tobacco, and it's a raw tobacco. It's not tobacco that we use for people that use in cigarettes. We also have a wild turkey feather, and we put the 4 medicines into our abalone shell, or you can use a wooden bowl or a glass bowl. And you put your medicines in, you'd light it, and then you would start smudging, using fanning with your feather.
Our similar history is that a lot of us went underground in the past because of the prejudice and the persecution of the people who were settling the country, because they were trying to do away with our culture and do away with the people that were already living here.
I didn't know from being young that I was Metis, and my mother was the youngest in her family, and her older sisters would have been in their 20s in the 1920s. So around the Georgian Bay area, it was if you can speak English without an accent, you're suddenly accepted. If they know you're French, you're a level down. If they know you have Indigenous blood, you're another level down. So they fought anybody getting involved in this, and we found out a little later, like after the older ones had passed on, and then it started to come out. And it's very interesting, because then you can look back and you can see things that you didn't know why, but they were kind of hidden. It wasn't stressed and underlined. And so you often hear these stories about finding out later.
Just to add to what Jim was saying, my grandfather had a job with the city of Toronto, and if he had ever, after World War I, when he came home, ever gave any information about his history, he would have lost that job quite quickly. And he had that job because he hid who he was, unfortunately. And I'm so glad that the world has opened up a little bit more now, so that we can be who we are and be proud of it. We are a country of people who come from everywhere else. My father was from Denmark. I'm a real mongrel as far as my history goes, and I'm proud of that because we came here for a different life and for a better life, and I'm glad that in this country we can be proud of who we are.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you learned something new about Indigenous cultures in Canada. In the comments, please let us know what Indigenous cultures exist in your countries, what languages they speak, and what cultural traditions they have. Thanks for watching and see you next time.